And look at this graphic organizer on the left, and that's kind of like my notes on the right to summarize what's happening. So on the left hand side, you have this inequality versus the interval notation, but what they've done is they included a number line in the middle. So remember when we're talking about a number line, we're talking about the x-axis. So the first thing you want to understand is that when you have the less than or greater than, these are considered open, which means that there'll be like an open dot on the number line and it won't be colored in. This also includes graphs. When something is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, these are what we call closed. When they're closed, they have like some color inside the dot, right? So it's like a solid dot, like a solid disk. The notation when it's open are going to be soft parentheses, and then when it's greater for interval notation, we're going to have brackets. You can have a combination of the soft parentheses and the brackets. And then we always want to recall that infinity notation, negative infinity to the infinity, will always be open because we are not bounding those. Another point to make is that when we multiply or divide by a negative, you're going to change the direction of the inequality. It's going to be like on numbers 10, 11, 12. Okay, first things first, number 1. Number 1 says write the inequality in interval notation. So if we reference our chart right here to the right, this has the same notation, so it's going to be a bracket -2 comma infinity. Make that infinity look correct. And then that's going to be a parentheses. So it looks like this one right here. Number 2, we're going to rewrite this. I want my variable on the left, so we're going to like create a mirror image of it. So it says right now that 8 is less than or equal to the x, so this is x is greater than or equal to 8. This means the same thing. So when we look at this, that means we're going to have a bracket at 8 comma infinity. It's like number 2 is like number 1. Okay. Number 3 is what we call a compound inequality. So a compound inequality basically means that you got to look at the notation to decide what you're going to have. So this is going to be not included. So this is parentheses and this other one's not included. If I read this together, it has -8 is less than x, which is less than 6. So I have -8 comma 6, and both of those are soft parentheses. Number 4 is also a compound inequality, but you have 2 different signs. So when you have 2 different signs like this, let's look at our reference chart again. It looks like this one right here. So that means we're going to have a soft parentheses and then a bracket. So 4 is less than x, 4 is less than x, which is less than or greater to 7. I'm making that a bracket. So when we put this together, it's going to be soft parentheses 4 comma 7 bracket. Any questions? It's 5, 6, and 7 are pretty easy because they bound the number lines for us. So it's going to be less than -3 and then no greater than 6. Next one is going to be -7 and 10 is going to be less than. Okay, the next one, number 7, this is going to be -infinity, and then 9 is not included. Variable, but we want to make sure that if we divide by a negative variable that we're switching the direction of the inequality. Number 8, we're not going to do that, but we might do that at 9 or 10. So we rewrite the inequality, it says solve and graph the inequality, give the answer of interval notation. So it's 3 different answers asking for. So we're going to add 2 to both sides. I have 3x's greater than -4x plus 12. Add 4x, so I have x is greater than 12. If I put this on the number line, it's open, so it's going to be open at 12, and it's going to approach infinity. And then interval notation is going to be 12 comma infinity. Each of one of these is your solution. Okay? We're subtracting 9 from both sides. 5x is greater than or equal to 6x plus 8. Subtract 6x, -1x is greater than or equal to 8. Okay. So remember, we're going to recall that if we multiply or divide by a negative number and an inequality, it's going to change the direction of the inequality. It doesn't change the type of inequality. So this one is reading greater than or equal to. So that means when we change the direction of the inequality, the answer is going to be x is less than or equal to negative 8. So let's show this. We're going to divide both sides by negative 1. So that means we're going to change this direction of inequality. So x is less than or equal to negative 8. On the number line, that's what it's going to look like. On the interval, here's what you get. Remember, we have 3 solutions here. We're going to subtract 9 from both sides. And then we get 6x, negative 6x is less than negative 7x minus 11. Add 7x to both sides. So now I have x is less than or equal to negative 12. We put on the number line first. It's going to be bounded at negative 11, but it's going to be approaching the negative. From the left-hand side, it's going to be approaching the negative infinity, and it stops at negative 11 to the right. And then with the interval notation, it's going to be negative infinity, comma, negative 11 bracket. So again, each one of these is your solution.